Here, on this hallowed ground, in the backdrop of this great city, people can be pretty passionate about their team. From Brooklyn to New Haven, down to the Jersey Shore, it's more of a way of life. But let's be honest, this isn't something new. Here, they want you to be bold. They want you to be fearless.
He's got 4 men on his back. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Giants.
They want you to be relentless.
I'm an animal.
So in other words, you better bring your A game. That desire for you to be great
And Gano connects from 57.
calls for you to be smart,
Short of the first down. He's wrapped up.
to be tough, to be dependable.
Hits by Thibodeau and sack.
Because here, loyalty runs deep.
We welcome you to MetLife Stadium, some of the celebrities who are here tonight.
And if you rise to the challenge,
Touchdown, Giants.
you will be legendary.
What a play by the Giants.
You will be giant.
Yeah, we are in the building talking all things Giants. It's Big Blue. It is the Big Blueprint, a Giants podcast on the Executives View Network, sponsored by the good people at ProMead. ProMead, you can go to their website and get all your bedding needs handled on their website. They got bed sheets, pillowcases, anything you can think of. Use our exclusive code Executives 2026. Get 15% off your entire order. Thank you to the good folks at ProMead for sponsoring this show. I don't do this by myself, the villain himself in the building. I got my Giants brethren with me, my main man, Anthony. Anthony, we do the Knicks show, but we are Giants fans. We bleed blue, and this is our favorite time of year. Anthony, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, Dylan, how you been, man? It's red, white, and blue skies.
All day. I mean, we had orange and blue skies. Now we got a little red tint in there. Everything's good.
It's a new podcast name, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see, right? We'll see how that goes. But no, I'm so happy to do the show with you. The folks over on the other side of the country, they do their 49ers podcast, and we're like, dude, we bleed blue over here. We got our own thing that we can do. So we're in the building. We're doing our big thing. Thank you to everybody for watching and rocking with us. Listen, it is a new season, 2026. Usually there's optimism in the air in New York, but then it quickly fades away as the season starts to wear on in New York. That's typically how it goes. But there's a little bit more juice in the building as there's a new regime, another coaching regime that we have in the building. John Harbaugh, his first season as New York Giants head coach, taking over for Daboll and company. There's a lot of changes going on in training camp, right? And they are actually holding training camp in West Virginia. They are in the friendly confines, of New Jersey. They're actually having their training camp in the shadow of West Virginia, closer to Baltimore, no less. But that just signals a new feel, a new era that's going on. What do you think about the Giants actually headed out to West Virginia for camp?
Yeah, I was surprised when I first heard that news, but then you think about it a little bit, and I think it's Harbaugh's attempt to kind of insulate the team a little bit from the outside noise, get everyone on the same page, focusing on the fact that, hey, this is training camp. It's all about football right now. August is a season of overreactions. where videos go viral and we all comment, we all, either think the Giants are going to the Super Bowl or they're going to win one game based on what we're seeing in training camp. And I think John Harbaugh is trying to send the message to the team that we're here, we're going to live, breathe, and sleep and eat football, and that's what it's all about. And we're going to use this time to bond and get closer to one another, since there's nothing else to do in West Virginia. So
I don't know anything to do with West Virginia. The only thing I knew about West Virginia was the Hatfield and McCoys. That's about it. Don't know much else about West Virginia. I wouldn't even pass through there on my way to Virginia. So you don't pass through Virginia. West Virginia. You either go there or you're not there. So.
And it's no slight to the people of West Virginia. If you're watching this, we love you. Thanks.
No slight to them, but listen, I got to be fair. That you wouldn't catch the villain in West Virginia. Let's be fair here. All right. Listen. It's definitely different. I mean, we grew up. I don't know. When the Giants used to head up to Albany, for training camp, right? So I actually, stayed not too far from, like literally around the corner from University of Albany. I had a friend up there I visited. So, seeing that whole facility up there. So I think it's good to get out of New York and get away. You build that camaraderie, you build that connection, that togetherness with your fellow teammates, and then you head back to New Jersey as the season starts to get approached. But yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's good to get out and do something different. So I'm happy about that. But not only are the Giants headed to West Virginia for camp, just in the whole aspect of getting away, there is a different feel from Giants camp. The first week is in the books. This is the second day in pads. One thing that has really been apparent after the first week of camp. One was the video that went viral of Harbaugh trying to amp up the team and say, we're the Giants, and everybody was like, trying to give him crap for it, but whatever. I mean, to be honest with you, there is a focus on mental sharpness, there's a focus on mental toughness, but there's a focus on accountability, especially with this team being so young as it is. If you make a mistake in practice, you will push-ups after the play, or after, I think it's either after the play or after practice, right? So especially penalties, you gotta perform practice. It's really instilling that your actions in what have you have consequences. And I don't want to poo-poo the previous regime or regimes, because we've been through quite a few. I think we've been through about 4 or 5 coaches in the last 8 years. But I think Dabo was sometimes a little too lax and then sometimes a little too hard, and there was never a balance. And I think Harbaugh is just really kind of gutting that whole idea and bringing accountability to the team. So what have you seen or heard so far as training camp opens about how Harbaugh's style has been, his approach to the team?
Yeah, 2 things, one of which you already mentioned. The push-ups rule is real. So I heard that it was going to be 10 push-ups for every penalty.
Wow.
So I know Denard Wilson was enforcing that on the defense. I don't know if Matt Nagy is doing the same on offense. But Denard Wilson, for every penalty, 10 push-ups after practice. And I think one of the defensive players was lobbying Wilson to offset it when they have a takeaway. Take 10 push-ups off the board, something to that. I don't know whatever came of that. But yes, that was one sign. But then there was something that happened today. I don't know if anyone heard this. No, Jackson Dart ran it in for a touchdown. After he ran it in, he threw the ball at one of the defensive players. His name escapes me. Didn't make the defensive player too happy. If it was a game, it definitely would have been called taunting. So what Harbaugh did was he set the extra point back 15 yards. Good. Because Dart had committed what would probably have been called a taunting penalty for doing that. So he was fired up. He was happy for the touchdown. But Harbaugh was sending a message to Dart and to the entire team there that, when you make mistakes like that, this is what it's going to be during a game. This is what's going to happen. Yeah. We're trying to replicate that situation. So, little things like that, I think are important to set a tone. I think I said this on our previous podcast, not to bring the Knicks into it, but I'm going to make the comparison because I think it's relevant. Sure. I've been saying for years the Giants need a coach like a Tom Thibodeau was for the Knicks back in 2020 when they hired him. They needed a guy with instant credibility who's been a winner in places before to establish a winning culture and be respected from day one. And that's John Harbaugh. And I really think he's going to have the same kind of effect that Thibodeau had on the Knicks. Maybe Harbaugh's not here long enough to see that title happen, but he will build the culture necessary to become a championship contending team, just like Tibbs built the Knicks to do the same thing. So
you need an adult in the room, and I honestly we talk about it when we hang out and all that stuff, and there's just it was just chaos, utter chaos. And you need that adult in the room, especially with a bunch of kids that can come in and say, nah, man, this is how it needs to get done. And it's not one thing to have a coach that hasn't done it at a high level. I mean, Dable won at Alabama, but that wasn't his team. But when you have John Harbaugh, who has a ring, has gone to the playoffs, and you haven't, okay, I think I need to listen to this guy. So I appreciate that. And listen, I'm all for discipline, because that's what happened when Tom Coughlin came in. I think it was a discipline on overdrive, and I think he relaxed a little bit, and that's when the Giants, went on that magical run and upset the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But he still needed to be that strict, coach, because, God rest his soul, Jim Fossil, great coach, but he was a player's coach. He was really lax on it. So I think, once that kind of wore off, you needed a guy in the building like Tom Coughlin. And I think John Harbaugh can bring that kind of cachet. He's won everywhere he's gone. So I appreciate that. And speaking of Denard Wilson, it's not only the head coach that's new, right? It's the assistant coaches, which means Jackson Dart is learning a new offense. And, Denard Wilson is installing a new defense on his side. So, I mean, I think obviously defenses pick it up a little faster. They're usually ahead of the curve when training camp starts, and that's nothing that we haven't seen so far. They've been dominating. They've been very aggressive. Denard Wilson has come out and said that his scheme is organized chaos, and he's got the horses to do that. I mean, I've heard Thibodeau has been playing really well. Abdul Carter has been really playing well against Andrew Thomas, one of the best tackles in the business. So he's playing well. I think Micah McFadden, he's back and healthy. He's been playing well. Obviously, Jermaine Evans as well. Javon Holland's playing well. A lot of guys are playing good football. So, I mean,
Tom Banks is getting some good reports.
Yeah, and honestly, there's something to be said about that. I want to tap on that really fast, because I gave Banks a lot of grief, and I said he's only good for returning the football. But, the thing was with Dable, when you got into his doghouse, there was no coming out. And I felt like he wrecked that kid's confidence, Tay Banks. And I thought Dante Banks was a solid player that could be unlocked. I think he was probably used incorrectly. So a player like him gets a fresh start with John Harbaugh, gets a fresh start with Denard Wilson, and is playing well so far. So is there anything to be said about getting a fresh start with a guy like Banks, or even Thibodeau, who's played well but didn't get re-upped for that? He got the 5th-year contract. He got it got picked up, but he didn't get an extension. Is there anything to say about these guys that get a fresh start with this new coaching staff?
I think when you have competent coaches in place, they know how to spot players' strengths and how to utilize those strengths. And I think what's even more important, and this doesn't get talked about enough, but we saw a little bit of this happen on draft night. I think when you have good coaches like this, they can properly explain to players why they think they should be used in certain ways and get those players to buy into that approach, right? Better than bad coaches can. Bad coaches, I think, are bad because they're bad at explaining, probably because they don't fully know how to explain.
They don't teach
what they're doing. They they don't have a good teaching instinct to them, nor do they have the ability to really explain why it is they're doing what they're doing. But good coaches can well explain that in a way that gets bought in. The reason why I brought up draft night is because if you remember, Malik Neighbors was on a podcast during the draft when they picked Reese at 5, and you heard Neighbors with some whispers of, I'm not quite sure why they did this. This doesn't quite make sense. What did John Harbaugh do? He gets on the phone. He calls Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
he explains to Malik Neighbors exactly why they picked him and how they expect to use him. And then they ask Neighbors after the phone call, what do you think now? And he's like, yeah, I'm totally bought in. I'm super excited about this guy. So when that phone call happened and John Harbaugh explained to Neighbors how they were going to use him, he got Neighbors to fully buy into how they were going to use Reese and created that excitement for him. So I think that's the biggest. It's not like these guys developed a whole new set of skills overnight. Tay Banks is probably the same player now that he was a year ago. But I'm
sure there's certain technique things that they tweaked and said, "Hey, let's do like this." Sure.
Yeah. But if at this level, when you've reached this stage, if you don't know how to do something, you're probably never going to learn, right? I mean, unless it's small, unless it's subtle, those types of things, and those are the kinds of things that good coaches can unlock. And I think that's where you can see that happen with a guy like Tay Banks this year.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And he isn't former number 1 pick, right? So a first round pick. So you definitely want to utilize his talents and try to get the most out of him because, corners don't fall on trees, and you've got to figure out a way to unlock this kid. So if you can bring him alongside of Holland, and they got some the kid from Tennessee.
He looks great.
Hood. So now you don't have to have the pressure because I think the thing that with Banks, I liked him out of Maryland, but the way they used him, it was clearly just not right. Like they put him on an island and asked him to do things that he's not accustomed to doing. I think it was probably the opposite of him playing a little bit of zone coverage, and that's not his skill set. So I think Harbaugh's defenses typically ask a lot of the corners to play on an island. And I think that might suit his talents a little bit more, especially if you're getting pressure, right? So, you don't have to worry about a double move if you're getting pressure up front with those guys. So I think he can fit in the scheme if they use him right. Yeah. So I like it, and I hope it continues, right?
We saw glimpses of what he can do under Wink. And then
yes, exactly.
And then he took a step back like everybody else did under Shane Bowman, right?
So. And it's not the right scheme for him. It really wasn't, right? So I think that's probably where the problem started to come in with Banks and with some of the other guys. But I gotta talk about Arvell Reese. He looks like a monster right now, and playing stand-up linebacker, but being able to get downhill, put his hand in the dirt. He looks really good. He's been impressing. Like all the vets, coaches really love how he can play in coverage, but he can, like I said, he can get downhill and get to the quarterback, play in the backfield. So, as a linebacker, because I think we all said it, and I think Leak was one of the guys that was like, why are we drafting this guy? But once you see how they're using him, you see his speed and coverage. I think he runs like a 4.5 or 4.6. And really smart. He's a good football player. He's knowledgeable, right? So there's a lot of good things that you're seeing from the rookie. Now, obviously, it's early. We're not, it's only the second day in pads and all that stuff. But I mean, you got to be encouraged from what you're seeing from the rookie so far, right?
Well, and I think, isn't Denard Wilson known for playing a lot of 3-4?
Yeah.
You're going to ask him to drop back in coverage, like you said. And I think it's brilliant that Tremaine Edmonds is there to kind of take him under his wing and really help him build that. I mean, what's the staple of Giant defenses? What's our tradition? Linebackers, right? It's Lawrence Taylor. It's Carl Banks. It's Antonio Pierce. Every single Super Bowl we won, we had a star linebacker, quarterback.
Jesse Armstead.
Jesse Armstead.
Harry Carson,
Yeah,
Van
yeah,
Pelt, like you can go far back. The original number 10, right? The first
that's
number
right.
10.
That's right.
But yeah, that's the staple. To your point,
Yeah.
linebackers.
So that's what they're grooming him to be under Edmonds' wing. But then Reese also has the ability to be another pass rusher too. You can
Sure.
slide this guy around. You could put him on the line, or you could have
Hmm.
him one day be the Mike and go back in coverage and direct the
Hmm.
defense, right? And that's so important because the defense, what Denard Wilson's going to try to do with the defensive line is build a wall there so that
Hmm.
your linebackers can then drop back and play more
Right.
of the open field, right? And
Right.
so
Hmm.
Reese has demonstrated an ability at Ohio State to do just
Yeah.
that. And that's what they're going to be asking him to do.
And I think one of the things that the Giants linebackers had trouble with, well, two things: covering running backs out of the backfield and chasing down speedy tight ends. So
Tight ends.
now you
Yep.
got a guy like that. That when you can do that at the linebacker position and don't have to commit that safety, that
Yep.
just helps the safeties not have to play in so much space. They can play in
Yep.
a little bit of a tighter space, and then
Yep.
you can roll coverage over to receivers. So it's really an underrated thing that the Giants are now able to do because of his speed and the way he processes information at the line of scrimmage. That's one of the things that Wilson said, and a lot of veterans on the team said. The way he reads plays, he processes information really quickly, and can diagnose plays. So that's you got to be able to do that quick on the fly, and I think that's going to help his speed, and then how fast he processes makes his 4.6 speed look even faster, right?
Yep.
Like it makes him play faster. Like there's a lot of guys like the great Jerry Rice wasn't a Blazer, but his football speed was so much better, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I love it. I mean, I am so excited to see Reese play, and another guy on the defensive side that's really getting a lot of attention is our second year linebacker. Um, excuse me. You know, he was getting a lot of pressures last year,
Mhm.
but he wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. Turning into sacks, right? Like,
Mhm.
and but you could see it. Like I think we did a couple shows that we talked about how okay, Abdul Carter is getting to the quarterback, but it's not, he's not cashing in. I think Thibodeau had that issue too.
Yep.
But what we're hearing from Carter, that he is playing, so he is looking really good so far in camp. He's really being able to attack, get to the quarterback, put combinations together, and playing some really good football so far in training camp. Have you heard anything about our second year linebacker Abdul Carter?
Yeah, I heard him that he was beating Andrew Thomas off the edge a
Yes,
few,
yes,
a few
yeah.
different times. And
Mm-hmm.
they asked Andrew Thomas about that, and he was like, "Yeah, I take a lot of pride in, in creating that wall and the fact that he got around me that many times. I mean, he wasn't happy with himself that
No, he
Abdul
wasn't.
Carter had that kind of success against him already.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we saw it last year. This guy is in the backfield all the time. He didn't have the
Yeah.
sacks to show for it, but he was just in the backfield all the time. Every time you looked
Mm-hmm.
up, he had such speed. He attacks those gaps like
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, he's just always there. He's just got to finish the play. And sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
a split second where the ball gets thrown and he misses the sack, or he gets chipped just a little bit and he misses the sack, or the
Yeah.
quarterback slides a little bit. But I mean, if he just keeps putting himself in those positions where he's always there and
Mm-hmm.
breathing down the quarterback's throat, those sacks will come. They will definitely come.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super excited about what we could see from him this year.
The thing about Carter that we noticed last year is a lot of his pressures came up the middle, right?
Yeah.
Lining over the center, beating the center off the ball, and getting up the field up the middle, right? The Giants' defense was ranked near the bottom in a lot of categories. They couldn't stop the run.
Yeah.
I think they were about 26th in pass defense, but they were about 14th or 15th in sacks, right?
Yeah.
A lot of that due to Spider-Man Brian Burns. So but Carter was getting a lot of his pressure up the middle and allowing Burns to come off the edge and really get the pressure. But if what we're seeing is true, that we can see Carter on the edge get that pressure, that's a ball game change. That's a game changer right there. So I'm really encouraged from what I'm seeing so far. And like we said, beating Andrew Thomas is no easy feat. I
Yeah.
don't think he gave up a sack last year. I think maybe it was one. Like he
Yeah.
was.
I think you're
I
right.
think he played 11 games, and I think he only gave up one sack. It might have been none. Um, so he's one of the best tackles in the league. We got to keep him healthy. We got to keep
Got to
him
get in
healthy.
a full season here, you know?
Yeah, we need a full season of Andrew Thomas, because that's one of the picks that Shane has that has really paid off. He's unbelievable. So, but if Abdul Carter is able to get that pressure off the edge, and help Burns on the other side, you look at this list of linebackers. You got Thibodeau, Burns, Carter, Edmonds, Reese. They're just coming in waves. They're coming in waves. I
DJ
think
Reader,
DJ Reader, yes,
Yep.
exactly. So those are the key linebackers that we have, and then McFadden, who's a tackling machine. So it's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be up to the defensive tackles. We had that one injury. Um, we have to see if the tackles can hold up. I don't know if we can. We'll see, but I'm really encouraged what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing from Reese, and I'm really encouraged what I'm seeing from Abdul Carter, second year linebacker from Penn State. So,
I just trust that these guys are going to be used the way they're supposed to be used. Shane Bowen had kind of a prevent defense. He didn't really use his pass rushers like pass rushers. He would drop Thibodeau back in coverage way too much. And so these guys want to get to the quarterback. That's what they're best at. And that's what I mean when you have good, competent coaches. They understand what are these players' strengths, and they want to devise a system around those players' strengths, not the other way around, not asking players to do what they just don't do well. Right. So
or trying to be cute. Like, I think Bowen was trying to be cute. Like, oh, you think I'm gonna rush Kayvon Thibodeau? I'm gonna drop him back in coverage.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Don't try to outthink the offense. And a lot of times it didn't work. So it's like, dude, just
be
just
who you
play
are.
be who you are. Make them stop it. You know what I mean? Like, you got the horses, make them stop it. So I think, honestly, the defense was bad. It would have been awful if it wasn't for Brian Burns being able to attack the quarterback as he did. But even still, he would attack the quarterback, get a sack or get a pressure. It'd be like 3rd and 12 or something like that, and then they give up the first down anyway. You know what I mean? It was frustrating. So I'm just happy that the defense is showing. Listen, it was a long way to go, but I'm happy that the defense is starting to show some signs under Wilson. Offensively, though, we talked about it. Malik Neighbors is in pads in practice. Now they're being very cautious with him, right? Ramping him up very slowly.
Yeah.
But I saw the video. I think I sent it to you.
Yep.
Of him just running routes. Yeah. And I was like,
his cuts look good. Now, I'm sure he's holding back a little bit, as he should. He's not going 100%.
He should.
But
absolutely,
even, if he's going 60, 70%, whatever he's doing right now, it still looks pretty damn good because those cuts look good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to see him. Listen, we talked about it. It took a while for him to even get the surgery because of the swelling in the knee and the trickiness. The swelling has to come down before you can operate. I think it was to the point where they had to drain the knee a little bit to get in there and do the surgery. And then I think the last time we had, it's not the last we talked, but last time we talked Giants, because we were all in on Knicks. We talked about the fact that he was limping around at charity events. And then the news, you sent me the news that they were signing Juju Smith-Schuster, and then they were signing OBJ, and they had brought in another receiver, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Berrios, and I'm like, oh god, we're not going to get Leak. And we talked about it on our first episode of the Big Blueprint. But to see him out there, I didn't think he would be out there, and to see him out there running routes. It's great. I mean, to be honest, bro, Jackson Dart only got a quarter, maybe two of actually playing with the toy of Neighbors. So
because Dart came in for the first time in that Chargers game, right? That was his first start.
That was his first start, and then he got hurt.
And Neighbors got hurt in that game. It was in that game.
Yeah.
Neighbors. Yeah, so they played together, what, a quarter, a half, maybe?
Barely a half. It was crazy. So, like, talk to me about Leak, actually getting out there and practicing when we didn't think I thought he would be on the PUP list to start the season. And it doesn't look like he's going to be on that PUP list.
I don't think so either. And when he went in for that second surgery.
Yes, that's right.
The scar tissue that was left.
Yes,
and that turned out to be a great move because I think that's a big reason why he was able to come back faster than we all thought.
Yeah,
getting that scar tissue removed actually sped up his recovery. I feel like that's why. But when we first heard that he was going to have that done, we thought it was going to be a setback. Turns out, I think it was the opposite. I think it helped him come back sooner. So
scar tissue is very tricky because and trust me, I go through it, and I love my wife. I don't want to put her business out there, but she had knee surgery and all that stuff. So I know the issue with scar tissue. It's like it doesn't allow the knee to bend. You know what I mean? So once you get that scar tissue out, then you're able to move and work the knee, and then you're able to ramp. So that was it. If the surgery goes right, it's a big help. It's not a scary thing. It's a setback, but it's not a scary thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, his ability to get open, his route tree is elite. He can beat you deep. He could beat you intermediate. He can, and this is going to be key because Matt Nagy likes to do this, a lot of pre-snap motion, screens, a lot of nifty things in the backfield to try to throw off defenses. You can ask Neighbors to do that. He'll have no problem doing that as well. I think he's going to fit in whatever the offense is going to need. They need him to go deep, he'll go deep. They need him to run intermediate, he'll run their intermediate. They need him to do pre-snap and run screens and things like that out of the backfield. He could do that too. He's just so explosive with his speed, his hands, his shiftiness, and his catch radius, his ability to go up and get a contested ball and stay balanced in traffic. I mean, there's nothing he can't do. And he made, I think, I don't know how much this means, but I think he was ranked number 60 in top 100 NFL players. He
barely played.
Barely played, and he's already in the top 100 in the NFL. So
he's definitely legit. He's legit. We got to keep him healthy. We got to keep him in one piece. I want to tap on the receivers because OBJ, he actually practiced with the first team, I think a day or two ago. Harbaugh came out and said it was just basically how it turned out, how it happened. Not too much to read into it, but I was not one of the guys that was overly overjoyed to have OBJ back. It's not personal. The first run with OBJ left a sour taste in my mouth. I do like him. I think he grew up a lot, but I think the thing that really stood out to me, the fact that he was signed on this team after so long, was the fact that we needed another receiver because, Leak was hurt. But now I'm seeing, he's practicing and he's doing really well. I think one of the videos I showed you was him and Leak running routes together, running the tree together. So, OBJ looking good. I heard some good things about Malachi Fields. He's looking good as well. So I think this receiving core, and then, I can't not talk about the tight end, Isaiah Likely. He looked really good the first couple of days of camp, running some routes. I think a lot of times, like I said, it's Matt Nagy's new offense. Jackson Dart is learning the new offense, but they were commenting a lot of times that through the route tree, Isaiah Likely is open a lot down the middle and down the field. So, hopefully these new offensive toys for Jackson Dart can pay some dividends. And some other guys that were signed in the offseason that were brought in, obviously. So pretty much a revamped receiving core. What are your thoughts so far about the Giants receiving core?
And even OBJ, I heard in training camp, is getting good separation too. He's not getting the ball too much. Dart for some reason isn't getting them the ball too much, and Jameis, but he is getting separation, and that's key. That's something we've struggled with. And, I know we've gotten on him too because of all of his drops, rightfully so. But don't sleep on Darius Slayton either. I think this coaching staff's going to unlock him too. He's got to catch the ball.
We got no choice. You can't get rid of this. Nobody wants him.
He's on a contract.
Nobody wants him. The reason why he's here is why our boy couldn't get re-signed. So, but yeah, listen, he's here. Just catch the ball.
Just catch the ball. I mean, he's got blazing speed. He's just got to have the hands to go with it. I think they can help him with that. But Isaiah Likely, I'm really looking at him hard because tight ends are important. It's a big part of an offense. You can have all these shiny wide receivers, but if you don't have that middle of the field sort of intermediate threat as well, that can block and has good hands and be kind of a easy insurance target for Dart, your offense could struggle, because now your defenses are keying in on your receivers. By having Likely there, along with these receivers, now you're giving these opposing defensive coordinators a lot to have to plan for and think about, right? So if I'm looking at Isaiah Likely, I'm hoping he plays a big role. I think he will. The talent is there. Listen, there's a lot of talent up and down this offense. It's just a matter of getting all the pieces to work together and the offensive line, right? We talk about I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. The guy we drafted out of Miami, but
CC, just call him CC.
Thank you. Yes, he's looking like a beast in training camp. Luminor had glowing praise for him the other day, talking about how CC is already stepping up and showing how much of a leader he can be. So, and showing the kind of leadership you don't see from guys his age very much. So,
it's so funny. It's so funny, because they tried to paint the picture that Luminor was one of the worst tackles. And then that the offensive line as a whole was bad. That really wasn't the case.
That was the least of our problems last year.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem that was our Achilles heel for probably 5 solid years, at least, was maybe one of the quiet strengths of the team last year, despite
exactly. So I think Illuminor gave up a lot of sacks, but not a lot of sacks. He gave up about 15 or so sacks, but a lot of those sacks, when you watch the tape, really wasn't on him. And one of the comments in the chat, H-Town Texas 4, he said it properly. The offense was a top 15 offense, and in Dart's rookie year with a quote unquote suspect offensive line and no wide receivers.
15, for a rookie.
Yeah, exactly. So, and a lot of that was scheme. A lot of that was him running the football. But this offense, and Dable, like we said, Dable ran that kid into the ground and tried to get that kid hurt to save his job. Yeah. Now I think you bring in Matt Nagy that comes from that, Kansas City offensive tree. I think it's going to be a lot better. And I think you have weapons to go with it. Last year, our best weapon was Darius Slayton.
He's probably a WR3 on most teams if he's
No, but Wendell Robinson had probably one of the best. He had easily the best year of his career, and it was unfortunate we couldn't bring him back. But now we got to H-Town's point. We got better wide receivers. We got a tight end that I think it takes the pressure off of Theo. Right, Theo Johnson was a decent tight end. Showed some flashes later on in the year, but the drops.
Yeah,
it was the drops that was killing him. So now you put him in the other tight end position. Now you have 2 tight ends, which Harbaugh loves, right? And Nagy too, the multiple tight ends in that route tree. You could play that 12 personnel with the 1 back and 2 tight ends. And now you got some matchup problems. You got a guy in Theo that can a linebacker can't run with, and same with Isaiah Likely. And then if a safety tries to match up, too big, too physical for him. So I think there's a lot of possibilities that we're going to see with this offense. And to their point, to your point as well, this was a top 15 offense. And now we got some talented wide receivers. Scatterboo was back. He's a full participant in practice. He's looking really good. So, talk to me about Scatterboo.
I can't wait to see Patrick Ricard opening up holes for Cam Scatterboo. I mean, that is what we talked about linebackers before being the hallmark tradition of a Super Bowl Giants defense. Well, I think the hallmark of a Super Bowl winning Giants offense is their running game, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I know the NFL has become much more of a passing league the last several years. But John Harbaugh's style is tough. It's physical. It's winning at the trenches. It's running the football down your throat, playing defense, all the things that travel well in January, right? So we're going to see a heavy dose of the run game, which is going to play into Scadaboo's hands like you wouldn't believe, because he just wants to run through people all day long. And Patrick Ricard is going to help make that happen. And Tyrone Tracy. I know Tracy has had a little bit of a problem with fumbles in his career, his young career so far.
Yeah, a little bit.
Another nice, shifty runner with speed who knows how to find holes, has good field vision. I am so excited to see this running game go to work too. I think Greg Roman is going to work some magic. He's an assistant. He's gonna make that happen. So.
But to your point, I think the running game is the quarterback's best friend. It's going to protect Jackson Dart. A, that he doesn't have to run the football, and B, just protects him more. You know what I mean? Like you keep him on the field healthy. How many times did he get knocked out? And it was a mess for him as well. So, I'm here for that, and that's what we need. We want that physical run game that you can rely on in December and January. With the big bodies like Scadaboo. Tracy is a really good running back, very underrated running back. Do I think he's an elite running back, one of the best?
No.
But he's definitely a darn good running back that, you can have him as a nice change of pace with Scadaboo. I think he'll be I would think early on this should be 60-40. I think Tracy has earned the right to get, 40% of the carries. And Scadaboo is going to be your main guy because he is that bell cow that we love to see. So, but I think it was early in the season that Tracy didn't get run. He didn't get the ball because Scadaboo was playing so well. And then once Scadaboo unfortunately got hurt, Tracy got the ball and he played pretty darn well. So I think the offense, it could be sneaky good. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And I think the offensive line, if they can just continue building on what now the offensive line coach is gone, the one we like, Carmen Brasillo. He's gone.
Brasillo,
We're all hoping he would come back, but
but you got to clean slate. You got to clean slate it when you got a team like that.
Yeah, you can't blame Harbaugh for bringing in his guy, and so I think there's definitely a nice foundation on which to build. Let's see if they can do that. Then you add CC to the mix, who just seems like a pro's pro, and you heard him on draft night. I can't wait to go to war with you, he said to Jackson Dart. So you love that mentality. You just love to see that mentality.
I love it, and it's gonna be fun to watch. I think the one thing that was a problem was special teams too. A lot of kicks were missed down the stretch, and the Giants they parted ways with Graham Gano. I think it got simple. He was injured, and it just couldn't have
injury.
They had the injury. That's another thing that drove me crazy about the coaching regime last year with Dable and company. So now we got a kicker, Dominic Zavada. He's looking good so far. Hit a 57-yard field goal down there in practice. I think it was in a situational drill. So you love that. Listen, it's an underrated part of the game, but having a reliable kicker is very, very important. So I love the additions that we have. Obviously, I don't know how much run Mooney's going to get. I don't know at the receiver position. I don't know what we're going to see if there's so many receivers that we might not see Fields or anybody. But I love what I'm seeing.
Don't be surprised if some of these receivers, if they don't make the offense, if they're used on special teams.
Absolutely.
Kicks. Maybe you see Fields returning some kicks at least to start before they install him into the offense as a receiver too much. And of course,
but he's young. He's young. His hand, he's big. He's got great hands, and he runs really good routes. So I love the idea of getting him, especially in the third round, bro. When we did our draft,
he was still there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he can be a really good piece. And listen, Jalen Hyatt just did not work. It just wasn't working. And I honestly, when you bring in a kid like Fields, you bring in a kid like Fields, there's no place on the field for a guy like that. So he's just a much better player. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm here for it. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far from the New York Giants and what I'm hearing. Like we said, the second day of training camp with the pads on. So a lot of optimism, obviously early on in New York. I think there's a good mix of veterans. I think there's a good mix of rookies. I think we finally found our quarterback. Obviously, our franchise guy. There's just so much. There's just so much optimism, right, bro?
Absolutely. No, he's the coach they needed. They've bulked up the talent on this roster significantly. Now, we're not a Super Bowl contending team, but we are definitely in a position to become relevant again, to not be a laughing stock anymore. And I think, and not to get ahead of things, because I'm sure we'll talk about this, but definitely be in the neighborhood of 7 to 8 wins, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With the talent that they've had. I really believe that.
It could be more. Like, honestly, like we've seen this before. You look at the Bears team last year with a young quarterback, a second-year quarterback, really came out and really did, some great work and got themselves into the playoffs. So why not us? Why not us? So I'm not going to put a number on the win column, the wins and losses this year, but I think we can do some things. I think we can make some moves. And 7 spots in the playoffs. Hey, why not us? Why not the Giants? So it's going to be fun. Their first game in the preseason is on the 15th on a Saturday, 1:00. Giants and Vikings. So, we'll get our first taste of what we can see from this Giants team. I don't know who's going to play in that first game. You only get 3 preseason games. So,
right.
You got to get out there. You got to play, right? So, it'll be interesting. It'll be great to see. And like Asan just said, the thing from top to bottom, I think Joe Shane has really brought in some good players, but then with the coaches, it's the accountability that I'm loving. And you've coached, I've coached football. I'm not a hard-nosed coach, but I kind of emulate the coaches I'm around, and they didn't play. They didn't tolerate that kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So there is accountability that we have. Like you miss a play or something like that. Hey man, run a lap, come back. I'll talk to you later.
We finally have a head coach who is a head coach. If you remember, if you think back, since Coughlin, we've always we've taken our chances on all these sexy new coordinators who let's face it, they're just not head coaches. Like Brian Dable. Right. I'm sure is a brilliant offensive mind, but he's not a head coach, Now, I think he could do some great. Yeah, I think he could do some great things in Tennessee with Cam Ward because he's an offensive coordinator there, where that suits him best, right? And so, Joe Judge might have been a good special teams coordinator for Bill Belichick, but he's a horrible.
We don't talk about that. We don't.
Pat Shurmur was a good offensive coordinator, not a good head coach.
I can't believe you're bringing up these names. I'm gonna drive to your house. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna drive to your house right now. I'm gonna come in and slap you, man. Don't say those names. I'm trying to be optimistic, man. I'm trying to be happy. Yeah, I stricken those names from my memory bank. Like I don't even want to remember that name. You know what I'm saying? So but I think I agree with you, man. Like it starts at the top, bringing that accountability down. So it's just a fresh new environment, a new regime, a new feeling in New York, and I'm here for it, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing so far. Go to the website. I did a synopsis of what I've heard from the first week of training camp. We'll have coverage of the Giants, on our shows here on our website. I'm sure I gotta get him to do something. I gotta get him to blog. I gotta get him to do a video.
You're right. Yeah.
So we'll do something. But listen, we don't really do a lot of Giants shows. Like we usually do a one-off show. The fact that this is our second show so far just shows we're back. We're optimistic, man. You know what I mean? Like that video when I sent you the meme. When John Harbaugh got signed, I said, put the word back up, put the word out, back up. So, right. So we back up. We're excited, you know what I'm saying? So I think the Giants, they could surprise some people this year.
I think so. Yeah. Like I said, there's credibility being brought back into that building. I think they're getting back to their roots a little bit as far as what got them success in the past. John Harbaugh is the closest thing to Tom Coughlin that we've had since Tom Coughlin. and Bill Parcells and that sort of ilk of type of coach. And you've got a lot of young, impressionable, talented players in that locker room who need that. They need strong leadership. And that's what Harbaugh is going to give. Harbaugh is going to be tough, but he's also going to be fair. He's going to hold players accountable, but he's not going to be unreasonable with them either. There's going to be a purpose and a good reasoning behind everything that he asks them to do. And he's going to be able to explain to them what they need to do and why he's asking them to do it. And he's going to be able to get them to buy into that because of it, right? And he's going to earn their respect. I think that's already, you hear from the players now, they're already talking about that. The structure, the accountability, how much this guy loves football. It's genuine. These players aren't stupid. They pick up on these kinds of things really fast. And you can earn their respect really fast, or you can lose their respect really fast. And I think Harbaugh is earning their respect really fast. And these players know that he's exactly what they need for their careers and for the team's success. So.
Yeah, he is as advertised, man. So I love it. I'm here for it. I can't wait to see it. Like we said, the first game of training camp is next Saturday. And then, we're off and running. So I appreciate you, Ant, doing the show with me. It's our show now. So we're here. It's the Big Blueprint. We'll be doing a couple more shows, obviously, we might have a special guest as we preview the season. So, I'm so excited to get this off the ground and get this going with you, man. It's always a pleasure. Give us a quick plug. Give us a quick close as we get on out of here talking about a little bit of Giants football, baby.
I am this is the most excited I've been for a Giants season in a lot of years. And I don't want to wish the summer away because we still got about a month or so left of summer. Still got one more family vacation coming in Florida in a couple weeks. So I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis. But I'm going to have one eye towards the Giants preseason and what's going on. And obviously I'm following training camp every day. And I can't wait for stressful Sundays again. Exciting, stressful Sundays. And texting you and with every little thing and you talking me off the ledge over every little thing.
Talking you down. Like, listen, if I could do that for the Knicks, man, there is a way. I can do it, man. I can do it. I think this is the last.
We're going to have the Giants and the Knicks playing at the same time. Holy shit, man. Get your blood pressure off.
Yeah, get your But I think this is the first. I think this is the last Sunday that we won't have football until February. So enjoy it, man. I appreciate it. And any plug close you want to give us as we get on out of here?
Thanks for having me, as always. I can't wait to do more of these with you. And go Big Blue.
Bleed blue, baby. Thank you, bro. Listen, I can't express enough how thankful I am for everybody listening and tuning in with us. We'll be doing more Giants podcast shows in the coming weeks on the Big Blueprint, a Giants podcast. I appreciate Anthony for hopping in and doing the show. Great co-host. I love doing the shows with him. Listen, thank you so much to our sponsor, ProMe. Get to their website, prome.com, for your bedding needs. You get bed sheets, pillowcases, all that good stuff. Use the exclusive code Executives 2026. Get 15% off that order. Tell them the villain sent you. All right, you can get all that good stuff for a good price, and it's really high quality stuff. Get to our website, our blogs. We got all of our information there about our shows, our upcoming shows. We got a deal section. We are affiliated with so many great sites like the New York Giants. Shop. You go to New York Giants shop, Fanatics Experience, and you can shop for your official Giants merchandise. You can follow our deals at executiveview.com/deals. But I appreciate you, everybody, for hopping in with us. Listen, I bleed blue ever since I was a kid, and it will never change. I'll never hop on another team. So I appreciate everybody. I'll see you next time. We got the Total Sports podcast coming up in a little bit. 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I appreciate everybody. Peace.